Well, the reality TV world shaken. Russell Armstrong, if you haven't heard about this, he's the estranged husband of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star Taylor Armstrong. He was found dead of an apparent suicide. No note has been found, but some are questioning if reality TV, all the turmoil that goes along with it, is that partly to blame for what has happened here? Well, let's bring in our power panel. Mercedes Cohen, a Fox News legal analyst, Dr. Leigh Vinocur with the University of Maryland School of Medicine, and Kisha Hebbon, a defense attorney. Thanks for joining us.
Great to be here.
So, reality TV. You know, it runs the gamut now. It seems to be on every single network, and this particular network was Bravo that airs this show. What do we think about this? I mean, are they partly to blame, Mercedes?
Unquestionably, because they actually looked at this couple and said, you're our disaster couple. We're going to make you, Russell Armstrong, the villain, and we're going to exploit it because ratings were skyrocketing when they focused on the controversy and the marriage that was obviously disintegrating in the last couple of in the reality show. That's partly to blame, undoubtedly, because one of the things that he kept saying is like, I'm not a villain. Maybe I drank a little bit too much, but this whole thing that I'm an abuser, that I beat her in any way, wasn't true.
But these, I mean, when they sign up to be on this,
exactly. They
know what's coming.
They know what's coming. They know what ratings are. I mean, if you have a fragile personality, if you're depressed, I mean, there are some warning signs that you can look for. And, you know, you have to think about it. They're going to lay everything out there. And how real is it? Because it's the editing, you know. It's the things that are being edited. And you have to understand that's how they're going to edit it.
Right, and I agree. When a person signs up to be on a reality TV show, they know that the fans or the viewers want to see the drama and they want to see the negativity. Me being a divorce attorney, I know what it's like to go through a divorce, for people to go through divorces and to air that to the public. It's a lot. It's a lot going through it, period.
I can't imagine, though, that the Armstrongs went in saying, well, we'll be the disaster couple and we're going to be showing everyone how dysfunctional a relationship is. I don't think that it is anything that was ever contracted. I mean, that's really what the estate's going to come in and say, wait a minute, you, Bravo, knew, number one, we're not actors. We're projecting to the world that this is our real lives.
So could Bravo be sued over this, do you think?
There have been lawsuits like this. Jenny Jones had a lawsuit. There was someone who died on her show and who was murdered, who was a murder victim as a result of being on her show. There have been lawsuits, I think, here, and it's certainly the personal attorney's been talking about feathering that nest, saying these aren't hardcore actors. These are individuals who are portraying their lives. They were exploited. This was considered the disaster
Mercedes,
couple.
I understand what you're saying, but I do think they have a choice. And I think they know, like you said, they know what they're signing up for. These reality shows have been around for a while. So they see the positive aspects are not what's going to make the ratings go up.
But so, they also see that
they know their own relationship. I mean, if you know you have a shaky relationship, why would you sign up for a reality show? You think it's going to be better after you're, you know, examined under a microscope? They had to know what they're doing.
Well, speaking of choices, and let's move on to our next topic, because this is another choice. What's wrong with letting kids handle weapons used by your local SWAT team? What's wrong with that? Well, nothing, according to police in California, who apparently let some kids at a community event do just that. They say that they were just giving kids a healthy exposure to weapons.
There's a lot
and to their force also.
There's a lot wrong with that. I understand.
Here's some pictures of the event that we're talking about. So, Kisha, you were saying?
Yes, I understand that educating the children about weapons will less likely lead to them living delinquent lifestyles. But come on, taking pictures and smiling with the guns, that's glamorizing it, and that's making them want to handle weapons, and it doesn't make sense.
Well, this particular photo right there, he's aimed at the SWAT officer.
Yeah, and you know what? I had a little boy, and I tried the no toy gun thing, but let me tell you, everything he picked up, a cow, he was shooting with it. He ate a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, shaped it like a gun, was shooting with it. There's only so much that you can do, and I think, you know, they see a lot of bad guys with guns. They play, you know, Call of Duty, all these big video games that are violent. They see it on TV. Why not see the good guys with guns? Why not have them talk to them about the dangers of it? And then bring some pictures. These are gunshot wounds. This is what can happen to you. Tour, I'm an ER doctor. Tour a trauma center. You know, talk to your kids about it, though.
I've got a 14-year-old son who's watching, who's actually downstairs, and he will tell you, look, I'll be responsible if I ever own a gun. And this is what it's showing. We have a license. We go through training. We protect individuals. That's the good side of having a gun. gun of that magnitude. And having the children explore it, I think is absolutely fine
Right.
in that protected setting.
All right, well, we'll see. And we're not done yet. Coming up next, if it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that bling. Or if it ain't a carrot, I won't wear it. Women often taught that bigger is better, and now rethinking whether or not maybe you should wear that big engagement ring at your job interview. We'll talk about why up next. Though once thought to be a girl's best friend, some people are saying that a big diamond ring can actually be her worst enemy when it comes to job interviews. The worry is that it can be distracting or tell a potential employer that a woman doesn't need the job that she's in fact interviewing for. Our panel is back. Mercedes Cowan, Dr. Leigh, Vinocur, and Kisha Hebbon. Thanks for sticking around during that break.
Absolutely.
So thoughts on this?
People unfortunately judge by the cover of the book. Unfortunately, they'll look at individual and say, "That's a nice ring," and even if they get the job, they may not get paid as much. It's unfortunate. It's what happens. There are lots of lawyers that I know. When we try cases, we don't wear our diamond rings. We take a plain band if we're married. We take our diamonds off, because we want to portray a certain humility to the jury. Also, if you look at Martha Stewart, she was on trial. She walked in and on her trial with a $5,000 bag on her hand, and it became the fodder for folks that were looking at the trial.
Well, Heather, excuse me, I disagree that an employer will place that much emphasis on an engagement ring. Now, if it's gaudy and it's like going to be a distraction, then obviously, you know, don't wear that. That's the same for earrings or a necklace or, you know, anything that's gaudy. But I think that it doesn't necessarily indicate whether you should or you need the job or how much you should get paid. And I think if you have such a big diamond ring, maybe you're only going to interview for certain types of jobs where it's expected you're going to have a nice diamond ring on your finger.
Well, and it's absurd, the idea, if a man was wearing a wedding band with a diamond, would somebody tell him not to wear that, or a pinky ring with a big diamond in? So it's absolutely absurd. But I do understand that certain people, you know, they'll tell you what you should wear for a job interview. You don't want to wear something that's too seductive or low cut, or, you know, things like that. So there is a certain decorum in how you dress in business and such. But as far as something like an engagement ring or a wedding band, it's absurd. No one would ever ask a man that.
I had never even thought about it.
But if those prejudices exist, then we have to conform our conduct. And really, that's what the bottom line is. If people are going to judge by the jewelry we wear, that's something to be aware
And the
of.
particular issue that this was brought up in is the woman, she was interviewing for a nonprofit that actually dealt with people who were affected by the blood diamond industry. So, you know,
So
maybe
she was
it wasn't
biased
wise
already.
for her.
Right. But I think overall, I haven't heard of it either as being an issue. But Mercedes is right, especially being a lawyer in the courtroom, the jurors do look at, you know, the shoes you have on, the jewelry, and they make judgments based on that.
Something to think about.
Yeah.
Okay, so our next topic. The author said that he wrote this book. It's targeting childhood obesity, but critics say that Maggie Goes on a Diet, that's what it's called. It's a book telling the story of a girl who becomes a soccer star after dropping the pounds and is pushing a diet message on kids as young as 6 years old. Targeted for 6 to 12-year-olds specifically.
It really is about making sure that your child eats healthy. And you can certainly show them without pushing down the diet down their throats, because it's healthy choices as opposed to diet. Because with diet, there come the connotations that you have to be slim, you have to be thin, you have to conform yourself, and some eating disorders can crop up as a result.
And then what happened to kids being kids? You know, like when I was a kid, we didn't sit in front of televisions and play video games. We played outside, and there was more physical activity. So I think instead of writing books about diets, which is a lot of stress, and kids don't need any more pressure than what they already have, why don't you teach parents to encourage more physical activity and also have better food choices?
Okay, so the doctor on our panel, what do you have to say about it?
Absolutely. I mean, it shouldn't be about dieting for dieting, but it should be about eating healthy. And there should be books about it. And whatever you're going to show a 6-year-old is not going to be the same as what you're going to show a 12-year-old. But you need to build self-esteem, but you need to let them understand that these are the consequences. And I believe that kids should know this is a problem today, that kids are getting heavier. And and it's because they play video games. You know, it's not safe to leave them out by themselves sometimes. So you have to incorporate that into your life at home. You have to talk about it. There should be books about it that can bring up the discussion for kids, but, you know, Maggie going on a diet, you know, I don't know, but there can be a story of a girl who lost weight, but then talk about it with your kids and help build their self-esteem.
My worry, though, is with this book specifically, I think maybe it was equating, you know, she becomes thin and then she becomes has better self-esteem, but thinness doesn't necessarily
you have to
equate
build
with
the self-esteem. You have to build the self-esteem first,
and
then
But it was more, that book was really about you can only be successful if you have this thin body, and that's the wrong message for the child.
Definitely the wrong message. Okay, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. That wraps up our power panel.
Can I weigh in on the dressing up and down?
Yeah.
The great trial lawyer, Clarence Darrow, used to take his suits, rumple them up, stick them under the mattress the night before he'd appear before a jury. He didn't want them to know that he was a rich Chicago lawyer, wanted them to think that he was this country bumpkin lawyer.
See?
Very smart.
Awesome.
Interesting story.
Interesting.
I'll have to do that in my next trial.
Yeah, I don't think that'll work
I'll
for you.
rumble up my clothes before I come anchor tomorrow.
There you go.